We're talking about some dirty laundry tonight, and no, it's not gonna take game to make it go away. You're listening to the Role Players Podcast, where we bring you a lot of the stories that you may have missed during the week and some of the stories that you may have caught, but tonight we'll give you a discussion, or whenever you're listening to this podcast, whether it's on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or home of the Role Players, Spreaker. We're also on iHeartRadio and a ton of other places where you can find your podcasts. We are here tonight with me, your host, Byron, along with Philosophical J and Melly.
Straight from the shadows, baby. I'm back.
He's back in the Role Player layer with none other than the best podcast producer in the land, Mr. I-95 South.
Shift in the turbo, baby. Let's go.
All right, changing the gears. Well, we just gonna go ahead and gear up for some of this talk that's going around. It's not just football, it's not just baseball, but it's sports in general. What do you do when you're unhappy with management at your job, guys? What do you do?
Look for another job.
There you go.
Smelly, Melly.
I do everything I can to make sure they feel my presence.
Okay.
As I walk out the door.
Mr. I-95, give us the real. What do you do when you just fed up?
Man, look, I go on Indeed.com on the company's network and look for another job.
So it sounds like you deal with it professionally.
Oh, I thought he was going to say he go on Glassdoor and tell it like it is. You know, Glassdoor, boy, that'll tell you about a job real quick.
Well, we may not be talking about glass doors, but we're definitely talking about glass ceilings, because these guys have broken through the glass ceiling at the houses that some of them even build. Yeah, we're talking about Jalen Ramsey. We're talking about Orlando Scandrick. And for what it's worth, we even talking about Stephon Diggs. But, man, these guys now, fellas, we know that sports athletes are divas. We know that they are pampered. We know they're spoiled. But, hey, if you're not feeling the job anymore, if your team isn't respecting you as Jalen Ramsey says, if your manager or your teammate isn't doing enough to help you win, like Stephon Diggs said, or like Scandrick when he said, you know, it's bigger problems going on here than the players and what you see on the field, and management just isn't doing their job, then if you're not doing your job, then I have to find a better job. But are these guys wrong for coming out the way that they come out? Because Ramsey brought down the house in Jacksonville, and then it went away, but then it came back, and then it went away again. And now, you know, I mean, what's your thoughts? Like, is it wrong? Are these guys wrong for approaching it the way that they're approaching it?
Absolutely.
You think they're wrong?
Yeah, because you create a team. You create a team bond when you're a team. So the things that go on right here in the role player layer, no one else knows. Maybe our significant others, but no one else knows. So the perception is everything is great, even though it isn't. So when you're a team and you have a team bond, you break the code.
Okay, I mean, I don't disagree, but my beef is a lot of these organizations don't have that team bond. So if you don't have the bond there, if Jalen Ramsey, because, you know, I'm a Jaguars fan, so I follow that story extremely close. If Jalen Ramsey, like he said on ESPN, he went into a room, if his issue was supposedly with the head coach, but then he goes into a room and they say, hey, come in here real quick. And it's for upper management guys, and they're just pointing the finger, saying how he's irresponsible, he's a bum, all this stuff. It's you're disrespectful now, dog. Is it not okay to look at it and say, you know what, man? Since you disrespected me, I'm going to disrespect this whole thing. My back aches.
I don't know if it was a disrespect thing. I mean, we all know this is America, freedom of speech. And I just think that he voiced his side of the story, because if you looked at it, and you and I had a conversation about this, you know, when Jalen Ramsey was issued it, he was sick, and he was actually sick. And, you know, when he left the team to be with his his
Mother of his child,
mother
yeah.
of his child. She actually had the baby,
Right.
and he actually had issues with his back because he even talked about it in the Houston Texans game. Was it the Texans? No, it was the Titans game.
It was the Titans.
It was
game.
against the Titans. Like he balled
Yeah.
out that game, but he actually said before that game ended that he was having issues with his back. But he said, you know what? I'll go ahead and finish out the game. I think that it's good that we get to hear the player's side of the story because he said the issue was never with Doug Marrone because, they played to make it seem like it was this big issue in that Texans game.
Yeah.
That he had an issue with Marrone.
Yeah.
He said his issue was never with Doug Marrone. It was with management. And what he's also tried to say is they've never come to him and tried to talk about certain things because we all thought that, well, maybe it's about the money because Jalen hadn't been paid yet.
Well, he said it wasn't about
It
the
had
money.
nothing to do with the money, but the thing is that he felt like, as a man, and we're all men at this table, there's only a certain way you're going to allow people to talk to you, whether you respect that person or not. And he felt like at that point, they tried to talk to him a certain way that they wouldn't talk to him in other situations or other places.
So do you believe Jalen Ramsey went to spend time with the mother of his child, his baby mama?
She had the child, yes.
Yeah,
Golden Tate said they ain't been together for a while.
Now, Golden Tate. Now I'm glad you brought that into the mix.
So,
because Golden Tate said Jalen Ramsey has to see him
Jalen Ramsey has to see him
because he done left he done left
he left
Golden
her.
Tate's sister for some other
Vegas,
random
some
woman.
Vegas dancer.
Uh-oh.
So this is
Mama number
Vegas
3.
dancer.
that's what it is. So this is my issue with it
guess she's
because
shaking with us.
AB done
Shake
it
her.
first. It's becoming a trend, and I see more and more. And they kind of set up Bryce Harper during the playoffs, during the baseball playoffs, and he kind of took the high road and said he was kind of happy for the Nationals and everything. So this is my thing. It's okay, but when you're still in the league, just move on. Because this league is a prestigious league. And until you're done, because what you're going to do is you're going to make it harder for another organization, another coach to deal with you. Because they're not going to look at it like, okay, Jalen Ramsey was unhappy. He pushed his way out because that's clearly what he done. And according to Skandrick, I don't know, Skandrick got maybe some personal stuff going on because he said he loved the Cowboys. He wish he never would have left. So he's tired of sounds like he's kind of tired of bouncing around the league.
Oh, so he's missing his boo thing in Dallas.
That's what it sounds like. But he also took some shots at Malcolm Jenkins because what came out was an anonymous source said that Carson Wentz wasn't the future of the Eagles. So they're saying that it's Malcolm Jenkins.
Oh wow! So Alshon Jeffrey, he's been taken off the hook by Skandrick. Okay, wow.
So supposedly Malcolm Jenkins never wanted Nick Foles to walk out the building. He wanted them to part ways with Carson Wentz. So
Yeah, but this is not his call.
According to Skandrick, he say Malcolm Jenkins has a one-on-one. He was the reason why Zach Brown got released all of a sudden.
Yeah, well, I mean,
so in that you have certain guys on the team who you value their opinion. You know what I'm saying? That goes with any business, right?
yeah. I mean, you're gonna value certain key players, key staff members, or whatever employees. You're gonna value their opinions. But my beef is, look, man, you're getting paid to do a job. Now I actually don't mind hearing from guys saying, "Oh, I'm not with it." It's a way to do it. Now, I think Stephon Diggs probably rode the line about as much as you could. Because he didn't say he wanted out of, he didn't go into the rumor mill and the rumors and everything. And he said, well, it's truth to all rumors. He left it at that. Now, of course, that's indirectly saying, yeah, I want out. But look at him, man. His team has won 4 games because him and Adam Thielen expressed their frustration with the way the organization was going, the way the team was going. Kirk Cousins has been on a tear.
Was it kept in house though?
No.
No, Thielen
That
pretty
was put
much
out.
came out. And
They came out and
Both
said,
of these guys went into the media.
His comments were indirectly direct.
Indirectly direct. Good way to put it, Mel. I mean, but they came out, and like I say, now Thielen did it the professional way, because I know you're saying, Jay, you know,
it's a professional way to do it.
But, I mean, if this is the NFL, it's all about getting paid. Let's go back to Antonio Brown. And, you know, and again, it's not just football. Well, let's get off football for a second. Because LeBron did it in the NBA. He was unhappy at Cleveland.
He's God.
The first time, but still.
They give him a pass.
He did it.
Yeah,
and
but
got out.
still didn't even have to do it that way. Most times,
I totally agree.
yeah, he didn't have to do the television broadcast. But I think that we're just in a different day and time now. I mean, it's, you know, social media is this immaculate thing, and everyone's
It's
looking
disgusting.
to build platforms, and
They have
everyone's voicing their opinion, and everyone is just going to say what's on their mind, and it's just like regardless of what's going in house. I mean, I've even heard, you know, Shannon Sharp, he disagrees with, you know, some of the things that Skandrick has done, but nothing's in-house anymore, regardless of how you feel. Even Odell Beckham still talking about he wishes New York would have traded him to New England.
That was dumb.
You're in Cleveland.
He's an idiot, though.
It was dumb.
But I'm just saying, that's just where we're at now with athletes. Everyone's going to voice their opinion, regardless of whether it's going to have a positive or negative effect. Everyone's voice has to be heard. That's just where we're at now.
So, Mr. I-95.
What up?
When is dry snitching okay?
You for real?
Yeah, we for real.
Yeah,
When
because
is it okay.
that's essentially what these players are doing.
Especially
They're
if it goes
moving
against
on.
the bro code.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, okay.
If you're not in the league, so this is what Skandrick said. They asked him, "Are you still? Would you like to go back to Dallas?" And he said, "Man, I love everybody in that building." Then he said, "You know, I'm leaning towards the TV broadcasting side." So is this really a ploy to get him on air?
Could be.
I mean, could be, but you say when is dry snitching okay? So it wasn't okay for Jalen Ramsey to say, this is what they did to me, and I'm letting my story be told.
No, I don't think that's okay.
They asked. So
That don't mean you have to answer.
Okay, I knew you was going to say that. I knew you was going to say that. But you're talking about a guy like Jalen Ramsey. He's a mouthpiece anyway. If you're not happy, because LeBron has even went on record to say things. If you're not happy with the way it's going,
Just
look,
move
man,
on.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though.
But you want your story to be heard, because who wants to go to the team as, oh, you were the trouble child at the other franchise, and now you're coming here with that?
No, because that's gonna. You made a perfect point, because that's gonna build into a perception of Jalen Ramsey, and it's going to make people think that he's a person that he's not.
I disagree with that. Totally.
No, but look, okay, perfect example. Last year in the playoffs, OKC, when they were losing games to Portland, right?
Yeah.
And they were being asked questions in the media, and it was next question.
Right.
Next question. People are going to have a perception of you, regardless of what you try to portray. People are going to have this negative connotation of you. And so why not allow this man to voice his opinion? I mean, it's done and dead in the water now, but while all this was going on, why not let him voice his opinion and let him tell his side of the story? Because that paints two different pictures. Tom Coughlin is painting one picture, making it seem like Jalen doesn't want to show up for, you know, these voluntary workouts. He's not wanting to do this. He's not wanting to be a part of the team. And then Jalen saying, well, no, I was trying to be a part of the team, but like now that I'm a vet, I don't want to come to voluntary workouts because he said he's gotten hurt early in the season, and that's affected him during the season. He says he didn't want to take the opportunity of getting hurt, so he said he decided to work out on his own. What is the problem with that?
So I'm not. So this is outside Jalen Ramsey, because I've been following Jalen Ramsey since he was a freshman at Florida State. This is the same issues he had at Florida State.
Yeah,
he was a loner, and the guys in the locker room love him, but the coaching staff is unable to reach him.
Yeah,
and I could remember it. I could remember it was times, and I thought they were lying until he came up here to good old Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And I think weren't you with me?
I think
And he wasn't even going inside of the huddle. It was on the sideline. He was over here. The other guys was over here. So he's a brat. That has been his perception the whole time. So the reason why I say is after you're done with the league, it's okay to say, well, I had problems in Dallas. I had problems with management here and there. Because even though the media portrays one thing, the NFL, like what EJ says, I-95, the bro code, they know what goes on behind the lines.
Absolutely.
So even in Jalen Ramsey's defense, because this is not the first incident we've had with Tom Coughlin, correct?
Yeah, it's not the first.
It's not the first. It's not going to be the last as long as he's in the NFL. So I totally believe him, but I'm also on the side of ownership because if you go in your job, any one of us, and I work for myself, but I still got somebody cut me a check, man.
Always and forever.
And if I stand over there in my truck, and I say, man, shoot, man, I ain't delivering nothing today. They're going to say, man.
Then you're going to be delivered.
They're going to say, what's your problem?
Okay, so so here's my question. Why wait 10, 15, 20 years to talk about these things? Because what point are you trying to prove at that point? Are you trying to sell a book? Like, why reopen wounds and whatnot? What sense does it make to do it then versus
because they do
nipping it in the bud?
They're going to say it somewhere.
I'm going to tell you a perfect example. I was watching John Sally on Vlad TV.
John Sally?
Yes. No. I know John Sally. He's not
he
a big
better not be dry snitching.
No, he pretty much, because the whole thing with the Dream Team story was that it was MJ that kept Isaiah Thomas off that team.
Yeah.
He's saying that it wasn't MJ, it was Magic Johnson. Like, who cares at this point? That was, 27 years ago?
Yeah, they're just looking for a story.
I understand they're looking for a story, but what's the point of coming out 20, 30 years later? Like, who cares at that point?
It don't have to come out 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
You can do like Skandrick did. Like, Skandrick totally broke the bro code. He got released, and it seems like he was in his feelings.
Yeah, he was in his feelings.
So, but what he did, he didn't say, well, man, I'm trying to go back to Dallas. Jacksonville called me. You say, nah, man, I'm done with football.
So,
it's no foul, no harm.
Because
when you're in the league, you still got to keep everything in-house because, trust me, man, I'm going to tell you, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on more than what. It ain't just Jalen Ramsey and Tom Coughlin.
Exactly.
It's a whole bunch going on that get swept under the rug.
But I'm glad you said that because that's my whole thing. All right, we really mentioned three guys that handle it differently. Jalen Ramsey may have a point against his organization. Stephon Diggs finally had results from his organization.
What about AB?
AB handled it terribly. And then Skandrick, like you said, he was in his feelings. But we're not talking about the Adam Schefters and the Chris Mortensons and the Wojniaks and I can't never say it's Woj. But we're not talking about these guys. Wojnarowski. There we go. We're not talking about these guys because we all love it when it breaks through on the bottom line and sources said. So who are these sources? Are these dry snitches? It's the organization. So if the organization can come out and say, well, we think Jalen Ramsey's a bum, or we're fielding trades for Stephon Diggs, or we're looking into moving around. AB is a horrible one, but we're looking at options to move on from AB. Man, it's gonna be a mess anyway. It's not many first class organizations that can avoid the trouble because even Mel here had trouble in Minnesota with the Timberwolves. When you have Jimmy Butler showing up to take the first team on by himself and he beats them, the media's there. You got the media, then you have social media, and then you have the player, and then you have ownership management. It's really a kerfuffle. It's just a mess.
I like that word.
He's causing problems already. He's already missing significant time for personal reasons.
Who, Jimmy?
Yes.
That
It said he will be out a significant amount of time.
See, what did I tell you about that Jimmy Butler thing? On paper, they are better than Orlando. But if Jimmy Butler plays,
without Jimmy Butler, I think they better than y'all.
Come on, cut it out.
I'm just telling you, man. You need a point guard, brother. I'm just letting you know, man.
See,
Ask Mel. What do they need a point guard, man?
Y'all need a point guard.
Aaron Gordon's not going to be as good as he can be without a point guard.
Listen, why do you always say Aaron Gordon?
What's his name?
Why do you always? If that's his name. Who cares about Aaron Gordon?
That's everybody on the team.
Bamba.
Go after
Jonathan Isaac.
Look, go after Chris Paul, man. He's available.
He is not available. No one wants that contract. Chris Paul is a man that stood in his own circle in this conversation, meaning he didn't get anything he wanted.
Well, my thing is too,
he did that in his way.
He said he's not taking a buyout either, man.
Well, I guess he likes twisters because he's out there in Oklahoma City. Like, there's no future there, brother. There's no future there. But we don't have any kerfuffles going on within the role player layer, but we do have a future, and that future is with you, the listener. And you've done an excellent job making it through this podcast. So go ahead and cut on your Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and even Spreaker, home of the role players. Go ahead, hit that play button and hit that share button. Tell a friend to tell a friend to go ahead and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. It's been one excellent show, and we don't break through glass ceilings here. We just build foundations at the role player layer. So, hey, build it up.